अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपते
निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनौ रघुबर बिमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
संस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ईश्वर भक्ति भाव।
Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. A very warm welcome to all in this Vivechan session of chapter 18, Moksha Sannyas Yoga, third part out of 6 parts. Let us begin this session with auspicious grace and blessings of Yogeshwar Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj. On behalf of Geeta Pariwar, I Dipti Kute from Chandrapur, Maharashtra, welcome you all at this holy platform. Let us start this session with prayer. Prayer is raising of one's mind and heart to God or the requesting of good things from God. Let us do the prayer with Dattatreya Malladi Bhayaji from Hyderabad, Telangana. Bhayaji MBA in Finance and retired from SBI as Chief Manager and interested in giving lectures on Ramayana. Joined Geeta Pariwar in July 23, now giving Seva as Tech Star and Co-Trainer for L1, L2 and L3. Welcome Dattatreya Malladi Bhayaji. Jai Shri Krishna.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्
Thank you so much Bhayaji for invoking the blessings of Jagat Guru Shri Krishna to your melodious prayer. It is rightly said that every divine journey begins with light. It is a positive force that removes darkness from mind and soul also. With this holy thought, let us begin this evening by lighting the lamp with Swarna Sharma Acharya ji from Birat Nagar, Nepal, volunteering in the fields of health and religion. Joined Gita Parivar in April 24, now giving Seva as TA in L1 KKR and Kids Batch. Also TTG Mentor, GC in L1, L2 and L3, GC Mentor and also BC and Core Trainer in Level 1, now L4 Sadhak also. Welcome Swarna Sharma Didi. Jai Shri Krishna.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Didi, for lighting the lamp for all of us to purify the heart. Now it is wonderful to know that new batches of Learngeeta from May 30th, 2025 in 13 languages and 21 time slots at Learngeeta at the link joinlearngeeta.com. And also, please share the Vivechan session links to your friends and loved ones, even if they are outside Gita Parivar. Now the moment we are waiting for has arrived. It is my honor to introduce our main speaker of the day, respected Vikas ji Vaidya Bhayaji. Bhayaji is an engineer by profession, BE in mechanical engineer and postgraduate diploma in business management. Multifaceted Bhayaji, NRI for 12 years and traveled all over the world. Sorry. now owning an IT company in
वसुदेव
Pune.
वसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण टू ऑल. पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन and a warm welcome to all Gita sadhaks. We are discussing Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, 18th Adhyaya Bhagavad Gita, which is a summary of all earlier 17 chapters of Gita. Last time we discussed up to shlok number 40. So let us begin with shlok number 41 now. Today's shlokas are all very important. See, 18th Adhyaya is easy to understand. So whatever is discussed, probably you may not find many questions to be raised. That I can fully understand, appreciate. But if there are any questions, you are most welcome to raise at the end of session. So let us begin with shlok 41. Brahmana kshatriya visham shudranayincha parantapa karmani pravivaktani svava prabhavair gunaihi. The duties of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Brahmana kshatriya visham shudranayincha parantapa. Parantapa is calling for Arjuna. Karmani pravivaktani are assigned according to their qualities, their karma, in accordance with their gunas, svabhava prabhaver gunai, and not based on their birth. So this Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra has nothing to do with our birth. Nowhere in Gita it is said that Janmani Prabhavaktani. Janma has nothing to do with this. It is Karmani Prabhavaktani and Svabhava Prabhaver gunai. Your karma and your innate nature, your svabhava, that decides whether you are a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Someone has said very appropriately that to find the perfect profession is like finding a perfect life partner for us. But how do we discover the perfect profession for ourselves? How do I know what is the best profession for me? Here, Shri Krishna explains that people have different natures according to their gunas that constitute their personality. And thus different professional duties are suitable for them. Different people are suitable for different professional duties. The system of Varnashram Dharma, was a scientific organization of the society. According to Svabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi, work based on natures and gunas. So this was the basic foundation of Varnashram Dharma. In this system of categorization, there were 4 ashramas, that is the stages of life, and 4 varnas, that is 4 ashramas rather. 4 ashramas were the stages of life. Which are those we'll see, and 4 varnas, which are the occupational categories. The stages in life, that means the ashramas were Brahmacharya ashram, that is the student life, which was from birth till the age of 25. So that is Brahmacharya ashram. Next was Grihastha ashram, that is the household life, Grihastha ashram, which was regular married life from the age of 25 to age of 50. Then comes the Vanaprasthashram, that is the semi-renounced life, or the sannyas, you can say it, which was from the age of 50 to 75. In this stage, one continued to live with the family. He did not go to Himalaya or any other jungle. He continued to live with family, but practiced renunciation. Samsar mein rehte hue, he can live the life of a sannyasi. So that was the basic of Vanaprasthashram. And most of us are in this category now. So we know how should we live our life now in Vanaprasthashram. Live in the family life, but get little renounced. And last was Sannyas ashram, renounced order, total sannyas, which was from the age of 75 onwards, where one gave up all household duties and resided in a holy place, absorbing the mind in God. So that was the Sannyas ashram. And what are the 4 varnas as explained in this shloka? 4 varnas were Brahmins, that is the priestly class, Kshatriya, warrior and administrative class, Vaishya, the mercantile and farming class, and Shudra, the worker or the service class. The varnas were never considered higher or lower among themselves when they were created. All are same. Equanimity is the basic foundation of Gita. Paramatma has professed this equanimity in so many shlokas of Gita. So why we will create disparity? Since the center of society was God, everyone worked according to their intrinsic qualities, karma and svabhav parvair to sustain themselves and the society and make their life a success by progressing towards the God realization. Thus, in the Varnashram system, there was unity in diversity. Objective was same. So unity was in diversity. Diversity is inherent. Diversity is inherent in nature and can never be removed. Diversity is there. We cannot change that. We have various limbs in our society as well, and they all perform different functions. Expecting all limbs of society to perform the same function is futile, ridiculous. Seeing them all as different is not a sign of ignorance, but a factual knowledge of their utilities. Similarly, the variety amongst human beings cannot be ignored. Each one has his own specialty. We cannot ignore that. Even in communist countries, for example, where equality is a foremost principle, is their foremost principle, Samajwad, everybody should be equal. But even in communist countries, there are people, party leaders, who formulate the ideologies of the country. Then there is a military who use all sorts of weapons to protect the nation. Then there are farmers who cultivate the land, and there are industrial workers who do their mechanical jobs. So these segments are there in all countries, including the communist countries. The four classes of occupations exist in all countries, despite all attempts to equalize. The Christians and Islamic countries also have this division of society based on the duties. America doesn't have this, isn't it? They have an army, they've got business class, they've got service class. All four classes are there in all the countries. Whether you take Islamic country or you take any Christian country. I don't know why. But people decided to target India and our Sanatan Dharma under a wrong pretext. The Varnashram system recognized the diversity in human beings, human nature, and scientifically prescribed the duties and occupations matching to people's nature. However, with the passage of time, the Varnashram system got deteriorated and the basis of Varnas changed from one's nature to one's birth. This was our mistake. Gita has not said this. The children of Brahmins started calling themselves as Brahmins, irrespective of whether they possess the corresponding qualities in them or not. Also, the concept of higher and lower caste got propagated, since when we don't know, but upper caste, they began looking down at the lower caste. When the system grew rigid and birth-based, it becomes totally dysfunctional. Functioning of the system got damaged. This was a social defect that crept in with the time and was not the original intention of Varnashrama when it was created by God. But the most annoying fact is that people, without understanding this shloka, started blaming Gita. Gita has said karmani pravoktani svabhava pravairgunehi. It has never said janma, birth. But people, without understanding this, they start blaming Gita for dividing the society. Nonsense. Now tell me, Gita, which professes equanimity all over in so many shlokas, samatma yoga uchyate. If that says vidya vinay sampanne brahmane vyastini shunichaiva shvapakecha pandita samadarshana. Pandit looks at them in equanimity, whether he is a well-qualified Brahman, whether it is cow, whether it is elephant, or whether it is a Chandal. When this kind of equanimity is professed in Bhagavad Gita, how Gita can create disparity among human beings? Is it possible? So to think that Gita has divided the family is rubbish. Is rubbish to say the least about it. In next few shlokas, Krishna, according to the original categorization of system, he will map, Shri Krishna will map the gunas of people with their natural qualities of work. So who is Brahmin? Krishna will tell us now. Who is Kshatriya? Who is Vaishya? Who is Shudra? Krishna will tell us now. And we need to follow this in our day-to-day life. Slok 42. Brahmana. Who is a Brahman? Shamodavastapashaucham kshantirarjavamevacho jnanam vidnyanamasthekyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Tranquility. Shama. Shama is tranquility. peace of mind, peacefulness. Dhamma is the restraint, indriya control, restraint. Tapa is austerity. So tranquility, restraint, austerity, purity, Shaucha means purity, Shanti is patience, integrity, knowledge, wisdom, and belief hereinafter. These are the intrinsic qualities of karmas for Brahmins. So one who has all this tranquility, restraint, austerity, purity, patience, integrity, knowledge, wisdom, he is qualified to be called as Brahmin. Now there are attributes. These are the attributes of Brahmin. Note that not even once, Sri Krishna referred to any external appearance like having a shaved head or putting a tilak on the head or putting a silk dhoti or putting a thread around the body. That is not a Brahmin. The karma and swabhav that decides who is Brahmin. The real attributes of Brahmin are the forthrightness, the honesty, rare spiritual knowledge not possessed by the common people, purity, and forbearing all difficulties encountered while performing some austerity, some tapa. For example, a person decides to chant the Mahamrityunjay mantra for 1,25,000 times. सवा लाख का जप करना है over a period of 21 days. So you can imagine how many he has to do per day. Now will it be easy to chant Mahamrityunjay mantra 1,25,000 times in 21 days? There are people who chant Gayatri mantra 24 lakh times. That is called Gayatri Punascharan within a limited period of time. Now sitting continuously for several hours together and chanting mantras with a focused mind, one will experience body discomfort and suffering. People get blisters on their body because the heat also gets generated with chanting of mantras. But he who gladly endures this hardship is a Brahmin. Such a person loves getting up early in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, devotes his time to worship the divine, and by consistent spiritual practices, such a person then one day gets first-hand experience of the Almighty God. And the one who thus realizes Brahma is a Brahmin. So a Brahmin has to realize the Brahma, then he is qualified to be called as Brahmin. And for that he has to follow all this, what has been said in this shloka. So those who possess predominantly the sattvic natures were Brahmins. These are all sattvic gunas. Their primary duties were to undertake austerities, tapa, practice purity of mind, do devotion, and inspire others by setting their own examples. Thus they were expected to be tolerant, humble, and spiritually minded. They were expected to perform Vedic rituals for themselves as well as for other classes of the society. Their nature inclined them towards love for knowledge. They are always aspiring for knowledge, jnana. So the profession of teaching, cultivating knowledge, and sharing with others was also suitable for Brahmins. Although they did not participate in the government administration themselves, they guided the executives. And because they professed wisdom for scriptures, their views on social and political matters were greatly valued by the administrators, by the rulers. So these are the Brahmins. Now what are Kshatriyas? What karma and swabhav Kshatriya are expected? Shauryantejo dhrutirdakshain viddhechapya palayinam dhanamishvara bhavascha kshatrang karma swabhavajam. Valor, shaurya, bravery, strength, fortitude, dhruti, skill in weaponry, resolve never to retreat from battle, yuddhechapya apalayanam, not to show your back in the battlefield, large-heartedness in charity, dhanamishvara, bhavascha kshatrang karma svabhavajam, and leadership abilities. These are the natural qualities of karmas for Kshatriyas. So Kshatriyas are heroic, strong, and courageous. Moreover, this is supplemented with fortitude, firmness of mind, firm resolve, determination. It is generally believed that those who are ready to fight like people who enroll themselves in armed services are Kshatriya. Moreover, if their names are Singh, Rajput, you can assume that he is a Kshatriya. But just being willing to fight or wage a war is not the only criteria of being a Kshatriya. There are many other attributes. This is to be supplemented with forbearance, patience, generosity, resourcefulness for someone to be labeled as Kshatriya. Generosity has to be there. We see our army people helping the public in natural calamities. They help them in every what way. Whether it is flood, whether it is typhoon, whether it is tsunami, army people are the first to run and help the society. The Kshatriyas were those whose natures were predominantly Rajasic with a mix of Sattva Guna. So that's a mix of Sattva plus Rajasic. They are Kshatriyas. This made them royal, heroic, daring, commanding, and charitable as well. Their qualities were suitable for martial and leadership karmas. And they formed the administrative class that governed the country. Yet they realized that they were not as learned, as knowledgeable, as pure as Brahmins. Hence, they respected Brahmins and took advice from them on ideological, on spiritual, and on policy matters of the government. So these are all the Kshatriyas. Now what is Vaishyas and Shudras? Sloka 44. Krushigaurakshamanijyam Vaishyakarmasvabhavajam Paricharyatmakam karma Shudrasyapi svabhavajam. Agriculture, Krushi, Gauraksha, dairy farming, Vanijya, commerce are the natural karmas for those with qualities of Vaishyas. While serving through karmas is the natural duty for those with the qualities of Shudras. Paricharyatmakam karma Shudrasyapi svabhavajam. One who likes to render service to others is a Shudra. A Vaishya is he who deals with honest merchandising and honest selling of stuff. The Vaishyas were those whose natures were predominantly Rajasic with a mix of Tamoguna. They were thus inclined towards producing and possessing economic wealth through business and agriculture. They sustained the economy of the nation and created jobs for other classes. They were also expected to undertake charitable projects to share their wealth with the deprived sections of the society. So it is known that a businessman does business with an intention of making profit, isn't it? There is no arm twisting involved in doing business of Vaishyas. That is what is expected. But what matters is it is all above board. It should be just and reasonable. Moreover, spending a part of acquired wealth towards the welfare of the society, that too is the responsibility of Vaishyas. So only earning money is not the responsibility, but sharing the wealth with society is also the responsibility of Vaishyas. The fourth division refers to Shudras. These folks, they derive great joy in serving all constituents of the society, whether it is Brahmin, Kshatriya or Vaishya. The Shudras were those who possessed tamasic natures. They were inclined towards scholarship, administration or commercial enterprises. The best way for their progress was to serve the society according to their calling. That means artist or technicians or job workers or say tailors, craftsmen, barbers and other similar professions of the society. They were included in this class of Shudras. So, when a woman, a housemaker, a housewife takes care of her children and her family, offers services to all members of the family, she is a Shudra, isn't it? When a disciple, a Shishya, serves his Guru, when he cooks, he cleans clothes for his Guru, For that period of time, he becomes a Shudra, offering service. When a woman is educating, teaching her child, for that time, she is a Brahmin. And when she goes to a market and haggling for a reasonable price for purchase for her home, at that time, she becomes a Vaishya. What's more, when she fights for her honor or for the safeguard of her, to safeguard the interest of her children, at that time she becomes a Kshatriya. We see ladies fighting in the society for their self-respect. So that time they become Kshatriya. Thus, these are all the fluid divisions. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are all fluid divisions. They are not set in the stone that once you are Brahmin for the whole of your life. It's not that. They are all fluid situations. But we unfortunately believe that once Brahmin, he is always Brahmin. It is not so. Gita doesn't say that. Shri Krishna performed all the four Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. He used to take care of cattle, farming, so he was Vaishya. He killed so many demons, Rakshasas, Asuras, so he was a Kshatriya. He is the most knowledgeable Brahmin, Yogeshwari call him, so he is a Brahmin also. And then Shri Krishna even cleaned the utensils for the rishis who came for the yajnas. So he did the job of Shudra also. So as I said, these are all fluid situations according to Gita. We should not brand somebody as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. His karmas decide at that moment in time what he is performing. At the plane of Jnana, it is believed that he who links his identity with the body, मैं शरीर हूँ, who identifies with this thought, he is a Shudra. And whose body identification has been dispelled is a Brahmin. So this is at the Jnana level. But what we see in the society at large today is that people are stamped with the one of these categories based on only their birth. More annoyingly, they blame Gita for creating this division in the society. This is very painful to hear, that Gita has been unnecessarily blemished for creating division in the society. Gita is clearly saying karmani pravaktani svabhava pravarmani, not janma. And Paramatma himself performed all the four roles, no? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Anyway, let us proceed further. Slok 45. Sve sve karmanya bhirata samsiddhin labate naraha swakarma nirta siddhain yatha vindati tachrunu. By fulfilling their duties, sve sve karmanya bhirata, born of their innate qualities, human beings can attain perfection. Brahmanya should do their prescribed duty, same with Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. By performing their innate duties, born out of their innate qualities, everybody can attain perfection. Samsiddhin labhate naraha. Now here from me, Shri Krishna says, how one can become perfect by discharging one's prescribed duty. How to attain that perfection? By performing your kartavya karma, your prescribed duty. So Swadharma is the prescribed duties based on our gunas that we have understood. And our station in life, whether we are grihastha, shrami or sannyas or whatever. Performing them assures that we use the potential abilities of our body and mind in a constructive and beneficial manner. This leads to the purification and growth. It is also auspicious for the self as well as for the society. And since prescribed duties are in accordance with one's innate qualities, we feel comfortable and stable in discharging them. We know what we know and we are comfortable in discharging what we know about. Then as we enhance our competence, the Swadharma also changes and we step into the next higher class. In this manner, we keep advancing by dutifully executing our responsibilities. It is very tragic, outrageous, even in today's so-called modern times, to see that a Dalit woman belonging to, say, scheduled caste or scheduled tribe being tossed to death because she entered the temple or fetched water which was so-called reserved for the higher classes, upper caste people. This happens, unfortunately, in some states of India. There is such a desperate need to educate these ignorant people that one becomes superior or inferior not by one's birth, but by one's deeds and his misdeeds. Upper caste people performing so many misdeeds. So they are to be branded according to their karmas and their innate nature, not based on the family in which they have taken birth. We know the story of Santa Rehdas, who was no exception, as he too had to tolerate, endure such inhuman derision and humiliation in the society in his time, just because he had been born to Shudra family, Shudra parents. But such was the irony that this same sage Rahidas, he was bestowed upon the gunas by Swami Ramananda. Then that very Rahidas was felicitated by the king of Banaras, who fell at his feet, seeking sage benediction. So your karmas will decide whether you have become a Brahmin. Same was true for Sant Kabir, Sant Namdev, and many others who were born to poor parents and had to face the public humiliation for their so-called lowly background, so-called. Gita says, no one is born as Brahmin, no one is born as Kshatriya, no one is born as Vaishya, and no one is born as Shudra. It is not that a person born to Brahmin parents will necessarily be a Brahmin. Not necessary at all. And Parshuram is a prime example in this. Although born in Brahmin family, Parshuram was a Kshatriya by virtue of his temperament. Have you seen Parshuram photo without X in his hand? He was a Kshatriya by virtue of his karmas. He fought against many kings and defeated them with his bravery, like the Kshatriya. So even if he is born in Brahmin family, he was not Brahmin, he was Kshatriya. And contrary example is provided by one king Vishwajit, who although born in Kshatriya family, he went through such trials and tribulations just to be accepted, to be acknowledged as a Brahmin. He used to plead, I am a Brahmin, please recognize me as a Brahmin. My karmas are like Brahmin. And after all the upheavals and turmoils, at last, Vasishtha Rishi finally acknowledged, King, you are indeed a Brahman Rishi. You are a Brahman Rishi. Vishwamitra, another Rishi. Vishwamitra, he was Kshatriya by birth. And such was his mental inclination that he became a great Rishi. And for the years of tapa, austere practices, he finally awakened the Brahma in him. And by attaining Supreme Parabrahma, he became a Brahmin. So by birth he could be Kshatriya, but by karmas he can become a Brahmin. An ordinary guy may be born in Brahmin family, he joins the army. The day he joins army as a warrior, he becomes a Kshatriya. He cannot go to the border and say that I am Brahmin, I cannot kill people. Then why the hell you have come to army? The day you joined army, you have become a Kshatriya. So these are all fluid stages. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is nothing stamped. From the viewpoint of Jnana, from the viewpoint of Gita, there are well-defined attributes that delineate a true Brahmin. In one of the chapters of Gita, Shri Krishna has ever referred to the external garb. As I said, put a tilak on your head, shave your head, and then you are Brahmin. No. He has repeatedly stated the attributes of Brahmin. The one who meticulously follows the scriptural precepts, who is non-violent, forgiving, forbearing, compassionate, who studies and reflects upon the scriptural knowledge, and who continually strives to attain the supreme divinity, is a Brahmin. So some become Brahmins, some become Kshatriya, irrespective of whether they are born in Kshatriya family or Brahmin family. Likewise, those who have natural inclination towards merchandising, buying and selling stuff, they become Vaishyas. Vaishyas are in fact a very important pillar of the society, because it is the wealth of Vaishyas that enables the Brahmins and Kshatriyas to perform their prescribed duties. Kshatriyas will need money to buy weapons to protect the nation, isn't it? And Brahmins, they will need money for their own sustenance. Sri Krishna says, whatever work Whatever karma you do with the sentiment that it is all Lord's work. My prescribed duty, I am doing as Lord's work. Lord has given this Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So whatever under this categories, I am doing Lord's work. And offer it to the Lord. Carry out your duties without the sense of doership. Kartrutva abhiman nahi. And without any attachment or aversion. And accept whatever fruits that come your way. If they are unfavorable, endure it patiently. And if they are favorable, accept it gratefully, thanking the Lord for His grace on you. Shri Krishna says that performing one's duty proficiently is nothing short of performing a yajna. So a son taking good care of his parents is performing a yajna. You taking care of your neighbors in their time of need, you are performing a yajna. What will happen, for example, if we choose wrong profession? What could happen? Your temperament is not suitable to that profession, but you still accept that. What happens? Say a Kshatriya person who is not born as a Kshatriya, but who is having Kshatriya temperament. One who is having Kshatriya temperament, he decides to take up the job of teaching, for example. What will happen? God alone helped those poor children taught by a person with Kshatriya mentality, which is volatile, mercurial, and dictatorial position. He wants to be a king in all situations. And we read some incidents wherein in school sometimes the teacher slapped the students so hard that the poor fellow's eardrums got permanently damaged. Or a teacher, he punched the student so hard that it results in the brain hemorrhage of that student. So these are the teachers who have selected wrong profession. They are not suitable as teacher. They are suitable more for army, not for teaching profession. When they are so violent, you should choose the profession that is matching to your innate nature, your temperament. That is all Krishna is saying. Likewise, if the doctors and nurses, their disposition is of Shudra, that is, if suppose their disposition is not like Shudras, to give service, then they don't derive any joy. Suppose they don't derive any joy by serving others, which Shudras do, will they be a good people at their profession, medical profession? This is the foremost requirement of medical profession, to give service to others, isn't it? If their nature is also Kshatriya, suppose a doctor becomes a Kshatriya temperament person becomes a doctor, even getting an injection from him will seem like a stab by knife. Because his temperament is Kshatriya. He doesn't know softness of giving an injection also. He will give injection as if he is stabbing somebody. So this is the temperament. If doctors have Vaishya temperament of making money, making business, then they will focus on making money even in medical profession with wrong practices. We see the racket of organ trade going on in medical profession. Is it a good thing to happen? But unfortunately, medical people, more than giving service, they are more in making money. So they have selected a wrong profession then. They should have opened a shop or doing some business. Today we see even the High Court judges taking bribes. They make money while giving the verdicts. They have made it a business. Judiciary has become a business, unfortunately. We read in newspaper. So when people with inappropriate nature and temperament occupy the position of importance, the nation will be in danger. Wrong people at wrong places. The karma, as per our innate nature, makes the life a sweet song. If we select proper profession, our life will be a sweet song. Otherwise, it will make a stressful challenge for our life. We should accept the reality that without God's and without Guru's grace, we are nothing. We should perform our prescribed duty with this, that God's grace and Guru's grace is on me. That is why I am performing my prescribed duty. And at the same time, we should give up our ahankar, our ego. Is our life a stressful challenge for us as of today? Or is it a sweet, melodious song for us? We should examine Swadhyay. We should do our own self-study to look at our own life. Now this is the time for telling a story. A priest, he came to a guru, a spiritual master. This priest was very popular, even more famous than the guru himself, and had great knowledge of all the scriptures. He knew all the scriptures by heart, but he still had a feeling of incompleteness within him. He had learnt and memorized the scriptures, but he did not feel that he was anywhere near the ultimate truth, the absolute truth. I have read, I have learned by heart, but still I have not understood what is the absolute truth. I have not understood Paramatma, the Tattvat Paramatma. He could recall words, but he could not find the door to reach the wordless silence. So in the final moments of life, he looked for a guru, and he even found a guru. The guru looked at the priest and said, "So I see a lot of obstacles within you. Your knowledge is overwhelming. You write that all you know and bring it. Whatever you know, write down and bring it to me. Why talk about whatever you already know? By reading what you know, I will not tell you that. Why should I tell you what you already know? We will leave all that and I will then tell you what you don't know." So the priest agreed, and then he went back. It took him almost a year to write down what all he knew. He knew so many scriptures that he kept on writing on and on and on and on. He had filled some 1,000 pages. He came back with a 1,000-page book to the guru and offered it to the guru. The guru said, "Oh, you have come back. I doubted you may not even be able to come back because there was so much information in your head that I thought you will take the whole life to write what you know. I did not know how long you would take to write, but you have come back in a year. Great." Seeing the 1,000-page book, the master, the guru said, "This is too much. This is too bulky. I am old now. My death is near. I cannot read so much. Write it all in brief and just bring it to me, the gist of all that you know." So this poor fellow went back again. He came back after 3 months. The priest returned, and then he had brought the gist of his knowledge, and now there were only 100 pages. 1,000 pages he converted into 100 pages only, summarized. The master said, "This is also too much. 100 pages I cannot read. My days are numbered now. I am so old. I cannot even read 100 pages. Bring it down even more." The priest went back again. He had written the summary on a single page, 100 pages brought to one single page, and brought it to the guru. But the guru was nearing death. He said, "Brother, this is too much. I cannot read one page also. Go to the next room and quickly summarize it." The disciple wrote the whole essence in one single sentence, in one shloka, and brought it. The guru was holding his last breath. "Master," the guru said, "I am holding on for you. When will you understand? Make it even shorter. Why are you being a miser and making it brief?" Then the disciple, he understood. He came to his senses. He ran to the other room and brought back a blank paper, and he gave that blank paper in the hands of Guru. The master said, the Guru said, "You have become my Shishya now. You have become my disciple now. Although I am leaving this world, but you have become my disciple, my Shishya, so your relation with me will continue. When I was alive, even then you had no relation with me because knowledge stood between you and me. You had ahankara of your knowledge that you know so many things, scripts you know by learned by heart and all that. So that was a barrier between you and me. Now you have come with a blank paper. You are empty now. So I am leaving, but don't worry. The relation is established. Even death will not be able to break this relation between you and me now. Life too cannot have connected you with me in this way." In that moment of emptiness, the disciple attained the divinity. He understood. So what happened? This is a very unique story. What happened when he brought the blank paper? Bringing the blank paper meant the empty from within. If you have to go on the path of spirituality, you have to be empty from within. Continue with this. Slok 46. Yatah pravrittirbhutanai yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmanatmabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. By performing one's natural occupation, yatah pravrittirbhutanai, one worships the Creator, yena sarvamidam tatam, who has occupied, who has pervaded the entire universe. One worships the Creator from whom all living entities have come into existence, into being, and by whom the whole universe is pervaded. By such performance of karma, a person easily attains perfection. So Swadharma is so important. Our prescribed duty is so important that it can lead us to attaining Paramatma as well. So important. So no soul is superfluous in God's creation of this universe. No soul. His divine plan is for the gradual perfection of all living beings. We all fit into his scheme of like say tiny cogs in the giant wheel. And he does not expect more from us than the competence he has given to us. Whatever inherent competence we have, act as per that. That is what I expect. Therefore, if we can simply perform our Swadharma in accordance with our nature and position in life, we will participate in his divine plan for our purification. That is what he expects. When done in devotional consciousness, our work itself becomes a form of worship. हमारा कर्म ही उसकी पूजा है. Our work becomes worship. A powerful story relating that no duty is ugly or impure, and it is only the consciousness with which we do that duty that determines its worth. This story was told by sage Markandeya to Yudhishthira, and this is covered in Mahabharata. You might have heard it probably. The story goes that a young sannyasi went to the forest while he meditated and performed tapa, ghor tapa, austerities for a long time, many years. A few years went by, and one day a crow, kawa, his dropping fell upon him, on that sannyasi, from the tree above. He looked angrily at that bird, and the bird fell down dead on the ground. The sannyasi realized that he has now developed a mystical, a yogic power in him. As a result of this, as a result of his ghor tapa, his austerities, he has developed this power, yogic power. So he became filled with pride. Abhi great ho gaya main. Shortly thereafter, he went to a house to beg for alms. Bhikshandehi. The housewife came to the door and she requested to him, to that sannyasi, that wait for a while, since she was nursing her sick husband. This angered this monk, and he angrily glanced at that woman, thinking, "You raged woman, how dare you ask me to wait? You don't know what power I have." The woman replied. He did not say anything. He only looked angrily at that woman. And the woman replied, do not look at me with this kind of anger. I am not a crow to be burned by your glance. So the monk was shocked, and he asked that lady, how did she know that incident? When she was not there, how did she know that incident? That I looked angrily at a crow and the crow dropped dead on the ground. The housewife said, she did not practice any austerities. मैंने कुछ तप किया नहीं है. But I have done my duties with devotion and dedication. My kartavya karma, my prescribed duties, I always do with devotion and dedication. By virtue of it, I have been eliminated and I am able to read your mind. She then asked him to meet a righteous butcher who lived in the town of Mithila, and said that he would answer as to what is the true dharma. So consult that butcher. He may be a sannyasi, but consult that butcher. He has the knowledge what is the real dharma. The sannyasi overcame his initial hesitation of speaking to a lowly butcher, but he went to Mithila. The righteous butcher then explained to that sannyasi that we all have our swadharma based on our past karmas and our competence. But if we disagree with our natural duty while renouncing the desire for personal gains and rising above the fleeting happiness and misery our way, we will purify ourselves and graduate to the next level of dharma. So as you start performing a swadharma, you start going up the ladder. In this way, by performing our prescribed duties and not running away from them, the soul gradually evolved from its present gross consciousness to spiritual, to the divine consciousness. So performance of swadharma, kartavya karma, prescribed duty, it ultimately leads us to divine consciousness. The lecture the butcher delivered is covered as Vyadha-Gītā in Mahabharata. Vyadha-Gītā. This message is particularly applicable to Arjuna because he wanted to run away from his dharma. Kshatriya dharma, he wanted to run away, thinking it would be painful and miserable. In this shloka, Shri Krishna instructs him that by doing his prescribed duty in proper consciousness, he will be worshipping the Supreme. Your karma is your puja to the Supreme, and he will attain him easily with this ultimate perfection by performing his swadharma. So this is the importance of swadharma. Next, slok 47. Shriyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swanishthitat swadharme nidhanam swabhavaniyatam karma kurvanna apnoti kilbisham. Similar slok is there in earlier adhyaya also. Shriyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swanishthitat swadharme nidhanam shriya paradharmo bhayava. This is in third adhyaya. Now this shloka says Shriyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swanishthitat swabhavaniyatam karma kurvanna apnoti kilbisham. Paramatma says it is better to do one's own dharma, swadharma, even though imperfectly. You may not be 100% right in doing your dharma, even you perform your kartavya karma, but even then you should do it, than to do another's dharma, even though perfectly. You know other's job very well, but don't do that, even if you can do it perfectly, and you do your job, even if you are doing it imperfectly. By doing one's innate duty, the person does not incur sin. While performing your swadharma, you don't incur any sin. When we do our swadharma, prescribed occupational duties, there is a twofold advantage. It is aligned with our disposition, and it is as natural to our personality, our swabhav, as flying is for a bird or swimming for a fish. We don't have to take any efforts in doing that. Similarly, if we perform our karma, which is suitable to our innate nature, we don't have to exert anything. It comes to us automatically, naturally, like a bird flies without any efforts. So it is comfortable for mind. It can almost be done involuntarily. Mind doesn't have to go under any stress. And when the mind doesn't have to go under any stress, the conscious becomes free to be engaged in devotion. That is the advantage. Performing swadharma, which is suitable to your innate nature, then the consciousness will become free in engagement with devotion. On the other hand, if we abandon our duties, thinking them to be burdensome, to be boring, and take up another's duties unsuitable for our nature, we struggle against our innate inclination of our personality. This was exactly Arjuna's situation. His Kshatriya nature was inclined to military and administrative activities, and the events drove him to a situation wherein it was necessary for him to participate in the Dharma Yuddha, war of righteousness. If he were to shirk from his duties and withdraw from the battlefield to practice austerities in the forest, it would not help him spiritually. Because even in the forest, he would not be able to get away from his innate nature of Kshatriya. In all likelihood, he would have gone to forest. In all likelihood, he would gather the tribal people in the jungle and he could become their king because it is in innate nature. Instead, it would be better for him to continue doing his duty born of his innate nature and worship the God by offering the fruits of his karma to the God. When one becomes spiritually accomplished, the Swadharma also changes. It no longer remains at the bodily platform. Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, it surpasses that. Rather, it becomes the dharma of the soul, which is the devotion to the God. That is the Swa. Swa is our fragment of God, no? And the Swadharma is reuniting this Swa with the God. That is the Swadharma. So after performing our Kartavya Karma, we ultimately realize this Swadharma. At this stage, one is justified in giving up occupational duties and engaging wholeheartedly in the devotion, because that is now the Swadharma of one's nature. This should be our Swadharma at the end of life. Or after at least knowing Gita, this should become our Swadharma to reunite us with our Paramatma. For people with this eligibility, Krishna will give final conclusion. People who have understood this shloka and who are performing this, and they have understood what is Swadharma, and they are performing this Swadharma, in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan will say, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Give up all varieties of dharma. Until now, Paramatma has been saying, perform Swadharma, Swadharma, Swadharma. But after you understand what is Swadharma, Paramatma says, okay, now leave it to me. You understood? Fine, great. Give up all varieties of dharma and simply surrender to me. I will take care of all your papas and I will give you the moksha. Moksha ishyami ma shucha. Don't worry. Don't get stressful. I will give moksha. But until this, and also Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā also says, Tat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavat. Mat katha shravanado va shraddha yavana na jayate. That means we must keep doing our prescribed occupational duties as long as the test for devotion through hearing, through chanting, and through meditating on the leelas of God have not developed in us. So until we develop this kind of devotion in us, we should keep performing our bodily Swadharma. But ultimately that stage comes. But until that stage comes, this Swadharma has to be followed. And ultimately when we attain that Swadharma of reuniting our Swa with Paramatma, at that stage Paramatma will say, now I will take care of you. I will wash off all your Papa Karma and I will give you the moksha. Now leave all this dharma and everything to me. Sarvadharman paritejya. Continue with Shlok 48. Sajang karma kaunteya sadoshamapi natyajit sarvarambha hi doshena dhume nagrirva vrataha. One should not abandon duties born of one's nature, even if one sees defects in them. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, indeed all endeavors are covered by some evil things, as fire is covered by smoke. So every karma is having some kind of inefficiency, some kind of faults. But that does not mean you should give up your swadharma, your kartavya karma. People sometimes withdraw from their duty because they see a defect in them. Here Shri Krishna states that no work is free from the fault. Just a fire naturally has smoke. Can there be any fire without smoke? On the top of fire, smoke is there. For example, we cannot breathe without killing millions of microbes. We breathe, but we don't know how many microbes are there in the air, and we breathe and kill them. Jain Munis, they cover their mouth, thinking that they can avoid this. If we cultivate the land, for example, we destroy millions of microorganisms. If we succeed against competition in business, for example, we deprive many others of wealth. When we eat, we deprive others of food. Since Swadharma entails activity, it cannot be devoid of defects. However noble the Swadharma may be, it will have some defects. Cultivating the land is a good thing, no? but you kill a lot of microorganisms. Breathing is an activity which you need. But if you are killing microbes in breathing, should we stop breathing or what? The benefits of Swadharma far outweigh its defects. And the foremost benefit is that it provides a comfortable and natural path for one's purification and elevation. There is a famous book entitled Making a Life, Making a Living. It is authored by Professor Mark Albion, who was a professor at Harvard Business School. He cites the study of 1500 business school graduates who were tracked from 1960 to 1980, 20 years period. From the beginning, the graduates were grouped in two categories. In category A, there were those who said that after passing out from this college, they would want to make money first so that they could take care of their financial concerns, and then they could do what they wanted to do later on. But first objective should be to make money. 83% of them fell in this category of A, who said we will first earn money and then we'll decide what we should do. If money is there, we can do many things. So first objective is to earn money. This is what 83% of the graduates said. In category B, there were those who pursued their interest first. The people in the first category said, if money is there, we can pursue any interest. If the money is not there, what interest we can pursue? So 83% were in this category. But 17% in category B were those who pursued their interest first, sure that the money would eventually follow. After 20 years, there were 101 millionaires in them. Out of 101 millionaires, one person was from category A who wanted to make money first, and 100 millionaires were from category B who pursued their interest first. The overwhelming majority of the people who became wealthy did so thanks to their work, which they found profoundly absorbing and interesting. Mark Albion, he concludes that for most people, there is difference between work and play. If they do what they love, then their work becomes their play. If you are interested in doing something, then you don't take it as a burden. It doesn't give you any stress. You take it as a play because you are interested in doing it. And they will never take the work in the whole of life. They will keep on playing because for them it is a play only. They don't take stress out of that work. This is what Sri Krishna is asking to Arjuna to do, not to abandon the work that is best suited for his nature, even if it is having defects in it, rather to work according to his natural propensities. But for work or karma to be elevating, it must be done in the proper consciousness. Sri Krishna will describe how to do the work also. How to do? Look 49. Asakta buddhis sarvatra jitatma vigata spruhaha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena adhigacchati. Those whose intellect is unattached everywhere, asakta buddhi, who have mastered the mind and are free from desires by practice of renunciation, attain the highest perfection of freedom from karma. Naishkarmya. Do the karma, but don't get bondage. That is the art of Naishkarmya. Walk in the mud, but don't get the mud clinging to you. That is the art of walking in the mud. In this last adhyay, Shri Krishna is repeating many of the principles he has already explained. At the beginning of this adhyay, while explaining about sannyas, Shri Krishna has said to Arjuna that merely running away from the responsibilities of life is not sannyas. Now he describes the state of actionlessness or Naishkarmya Siddhi. Karma can become akarma. That means karma without bondage is akarma. That is the Naishkarmya. This state can be reached even amidst the flow of world, be detaching ourselves from events and outcomes and by simply focusing on doing our duty. Get bereft, get devoid of all your attachments. This is just as water flowing under the bridge enters from one side and goes from the other side. The bridge is neither recipient of water nor its distributor. It is only allowing the water to come from this side and go from this side. It remains unaffected by the flow of water. Likewise, the karma yogi do their duties but keep their mind unaffected by the stream of events, by the stream of happenings, flow of events going around them. They do not neglect to putting their best efforts in doing their duty as an act of worship to the God. But they leave the final outcome in His hands, in God's hands, and are thus contented and undisturbed with whatever happens. It is Siddhi or Asiddhi, they are not bothered. Here is a simple story to illustrate this point. A man had two daughters. The first one was married to a farmer and the second was married to a brick kiln owner. That means ईंट का भट्टा होता है ना, brick बनाने का. One day, the father rang up the daughter, first daughter, who was married to a farmer, and inquired about her well-being, कैसी हो बेटी, all that. She replied, Father, we are going through economic hardships. Please pray to the God for us that we have plentiful of rains in the coming months. He then called the another daughter, second daughter, who was married to that brick kiln owner. He requested to Father, Father, we are low on funds. Please request to God not to send rains in the coming months, so that we will have sunshine and lot of good production of bricks. Father heard the opposing request from his two daughters and thought, God alone knows what to do. What is best? God only will do. Let him do what he thinks is right. Such acceptance of will of God brings detachment from the outcomes despite being immersed in the continuous stream of events in the world. What the poor father would do? One daughter is asking this, second daughter is asking this. And can he really do anything, honestly? So get detached from this. Leave everything to the God. A doctor, for example, you owning a hospital, he performs puja at his hospital, requesting God that his hospital should do good business. Maybe probably because his wife is asking for a diamond necklace, probably. So that he earns a lot of money. But the people around that hospital, they daily request to the God day in and day and night that they always remain hale and healthy and they don't have to go to the hospital at all. Now what should the God do? He will do what is right. So we should accept what the God does without any complaints. Okay, continuing next with slok 50. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya nishtha jnanasya ya para. Nibodhame. Hear from me briefly, Arjuna. Samasenaiva. Briefly hear from me, Arjuna. And I shall explain how one who has attained perfection, that means that Naishkarmya Siddhi, can also attain Parabrahma by being firmly fixed in the transcendental knowledge. What does it all mean? It is one matter to read the theoretical knowledge. It is one matter to read the Bhagavad-Gītā book, that I know this Ucharan very well. But it is a different matter to realize it practically. Isn't it? It is said that good ideas are dime a dozen. There are many people who will give you good ideas, but they are not worth a nickel if you don't act on them. Gita is giving a lot of important messages to human life, but if you don't bring them in our life, what is the use? So Gita is not something, it's not a novel to be read. It is something to be brought in life with practical behavior of ours in our day-to-day life. The theoretical pandits may have knowledge of all their scriptures in their head, but still be bereft of realization. On the other hand, karma yogis, they get opportunities day in and day out to practice the truths of the scriptures. They are doing the karma, so they know how to do the karma in line with the scriptures teachings. Thus, the consistent performance of karma yoga results in realization of spiritual knowledge. You have to bring it in practice. Then that gives you the spiritual knowledge. Understanding and contemplating and then bringing in day-to-day behavior the messages of Krishna from Gita results in realization of Gita in our life. Pujya Swamiji says, Gita padhe, padhaye aur जीवन में लाए. Unless we bring it in the Jivan, we have not done the job. And when one attains the perfection of Naishkarmya Siddhi or actionlessness, while performing karma, transcendental knowledge becomes available through experience. So, fixed in the knowledge, the karma yogis attain the highest perfection of God realization. And how it happens, that Krishna will explain in the next shlokas. But for the karma yogi to perform karma, he has to remove the two poisonous teeth of the karma. One poisonous teeth, if kartrutva bhiman, and second is sense of enjoyment. Removing these two poisonous teeth, if one performs karma, he can attain that Naishkarmya Siddhi. Okay, continuing with next shloka now. Now next three shlokas are connected to each other, wherein Paramatma will give how to attain this Naishkarmya Siddhi. So we'll read all these three shlokas together and discuss them together. Slok 51. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrutyatmanam niyamya shabdadin vishayans tyaktva ragadvesho vidasya cha. Meaning in short is endowed with pure intellect. Buddhya vishuddhaya, firmly restraining the senses, turning away from sound and other objects of senses, that is Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, casting aside attraction and aversion. Ragadvesho vidasya cha. And then Shlok 52 says, Vivikta sevi laghvashi yatavah kaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samapashritaha. Meaning word is dwelling in solitude, Vivikta sevi, laghvashi, taking light diet, controlling speech, body and mind. Yatavah kaya manasaha. Ever engaged in meditation and concentration, resorting to dispassion. And 53rd shloka says, Ahangaram balandarpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmamashanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Having abandoned the egoism, ahankar, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham. So having abandoned egoism, violence, arrogance, desire, anger, accumulation, parigraha is accumulation, and devoid of notion of mindness and tranquil in mind, such a man becomes qualified to attain Parabrahma, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He becomes qualified. He has not attained, but he has become qualified. From Pune to Bombay, when we go Mumbai, the VT station comes. That is the last station. Before VT station, there is a station called Masjid Bandar. So this fellow has reached up to Masjid Bandar. He has not reached VT as yet. But having reached Masjid Bandar, next station is VT only. So he is Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He is going to reach. Now, these three shlokas, 51, 52 and 53, Shri Krishna lays down the guidelines for the strivers to be followed in their life to attain that Naishkarmya Siddhi. Let us see how many of us can bring this in our day-to-day life. Slok 51, he says, Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto. The striver of Sankhya Yoga who wants to realize the God should be endowed with pure or sattvic intellect. We discussed what is sattvic intellect in this adhyaya only. There should be no doubt in his intellect. In the discipline of Sankhya, Buddhi, intellect, is given the priority. Discrimination, which is very essential for a striver, it is revealed in the pure intellect. Viveka Buddhi is a must. What is good and what is bad. It is by this discrimination that he cuts off his connection with the material world. He knows where to get connected and what is to disconnect. So he disconnects with the material world and get connected with the Paramatma, that is Buddhya Vishuddhya. Then further, Vairagyam Samupashritaha. As worldly people depend on objects and persons out of attractions, out of passion, a striver of Sankhya Yogi, he remains detached from all this. He is detached from attractions and passions. He has no attachment for worldly persons and worldly places as well, or even the celestial pleasures. No charm for him in all this. So he Vairagyam Samapashita. He has taken the refuge of Vairagya. Vivikta Sevi. Such a striver has a natural inclination to live in solitude. Ekantavas. Vivikta Sevi. This inclination is praiseworthy. But if the striver does not get such an opportunity to live in solitude, ekantavas, he should not be perturbed. मुझे एकांतवास नहीं मिल रहा है. I cannot go to a forest. I have to live compulsorily in my family, in my 2-bedroom hall kitchen flat. If he gets perturbed, the importance of material world is likely to increase. This importance further makes him more perturbed, which is an obstacle in his meditation. He should remain equanimous, both in solitude as well as in crowded places. That is the art of living. To perform your meditation, to perform your duties, even if you are in solitude or we are in a crowded place. That is Vivikta Sevi. See, solitude is conducive for concentration. Yes, agreed. It is conducive for meditation and purification of heart. Okay, all agreed. But it also provides a good opportunity to drowsiness and relaxation. Moreover, a striver derives pleasure out of praise and honor. If you go to Ekantavas, you get a lot of praise and honor from people. You won that through your residence in a lonely place. Oh, Ekantavas mein chale gaye ho. But these are tumbling blocks. Any praise, any honor that comes your way is actually a tumbling block in your spiritual sadhana. In the progress of striver, this becomes a stumbling block. So you should be on guard against them. Even if you have become a Vivikta Sevi, and if you get some honor and praise from public, you should ignore it totally. Otherwise, you will get blocked. Lagvashi. Next Paramatma says Lagvashi. The striver should take regulated diet. His food should be sattvic. What is sattvic food? That we have seen in 17th Adhyay. And the quantity of food should not be too much as well. It should be enough for sustenance of the body. Not to fulfill the test of your tongue, but for sustenance of the body. Further, dhrutatmyanam niyamicha. You should firmly restrain dhruti, firmly restrain intellect from bodily temptation. You should niyamya, you should restrain. You should allow the intellect to deviate from the, you should not allow rather the intellect to deviate from the goal of God realization. That is niyamicha, that restraint he should have in his intellect. Dhrutatmyanam. And yatavakkaya manasaha. You should control his speech. You should control his body. You should control his mind. In 17th Adhyay, Paramatma has said this. Devadvijuguru pradnya pujanam shaucha marjavam. Brahmacharya hisacha shariran tapauchyate. Then in 15th sloka, Paramatma has said, Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam prihitanchayat swadhyaya vyasananchaivo vangmayan tapa uchyate. Vangmay vani. And in 16th sloka of 17th Adhyay, Paramatma said, Manaprasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasa muchyate. So what is sharirik tap, what is vachik tap, and what is manasik tap, that we know from 17th Adhyay. Paramatma says, follow those which I have already said. You should not indulge his body in futile things like wandering here and there, or in too much of relaxation, or in too much of journey for physical pleasure. His speech should be truthful and agreeable and necessary, free from reproach and scandals. The mind should be trained to have thoughts of only Lord and not of the material world. That is the manasik tattva. Further, Shabdadin Vishayans Tattva. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Sagandha. Shabda Adi. Adi means all these are included. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Sagandha. The striver should learn to withdraw his senses from their object of sound, touch, form, that means Rupa, taste and smell. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Sagandha. So, the striver should learn to withdraw his senses from the corresponding sense objects. Eyes have an object of Rupa. Ears have an object of sound. Tvacha, skin has an object of touch. Similarly, taste and smell. Because constant attraction to sense objects creates a hurdle in the meditation. When Indriya meets with the Indriya object, it will create either favorable situation or unfavorable situation, happiness or sadness, good or bad, profit or loss. This kind of dvandva creates a big stumbling block in meditation. Paramatma says, Shabdadin Vishyan Tyaptva, chhod do. Restrain. Don't allow your senses to get engaged with the sense objects. That is Shabdadin Vishyan Tyaptva. And further says, Pragad Visho Vidasya. See, a man is attached to persons and things which he thinks are useful for him. If anyone creates an obstacle in attaining these worldly objects, you want to go and meet a person very much dear to you, if somebody puts an obstacle in it, you automatically start hating him. If he has attachment for something desirable, that means he is automatically having some aversion for something which is undesirable. This is the corollary. A man is bound by both attraction and aversion because he keeps on thinking on these lines of attractions, that means desirable, and aversion means undesirable. This becoming his nature causes great problems for him in meditation. So he should keep himself away from attraction and aversion. Raga dvesho vidasya. Further says, dhyana yoga paro nityam. A striver be ever engaged in meditation and concentration. During fixed hours of meditation, he should practice meditation, of course, and while during the remaining time he discharges his professional and other practical duties, he should always believe that nothing else exists besides the Lord. Meditation, this thought definitely comes. But when you are performing your professional and other practical duties, this thought should always be there in the mind. Vasudevam sarva iti. We already read in this adhyaya also. Sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavam vyamikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tajnanam vidhi sattvikam. So this sattvic buddhi we should always have. Further, Paramatma says, ahankaram valandarpam kamam krodham parigraham and vimuchya. Vimuchya is to give up. A person has egoistic notion that he is superior to others. That is ahankar. Because of his virtues, he is superior to others. This is called ahankar. A force to bring others under one's control, under one's sway, is called bala, power. When consciousness of one's property reaches, is called darpa, arrogance. The desire for obtaining worldly pleasures, prosperity, and favorable circumstances is called kama, kamana. And the feeling of excitement or provocation, a kind of hot sensation to do wrong things to others because they have been a stumbling block to our selfishness and our pride, is called krodha, anger. Tendency to accumulate material things and objects is called parigraha. Paramatma says, get devoid of all this. Ahankaram balandarpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya. Vimuchya means chhod do ye sab. Sri Krishna says, a striver should abandon these tendencies of ego, force, arrogance, desires, lust, anger, and accumulating material things. Now, these are all the steps Krishna is telling us to attain that Nishkarma Siddhi. Further, Paramatma says, Nirmama. Nirmama is not Nishthur. Nirmama is without attachment. The biggest attachment we have is for our body, senses, mind, and intellect. The striver should firmly believe that these were not ours a few years back. Say 100 years back, did you have your body? No. Did you have your intellect, senses, mind? Nothing. And this will not be ours 100 years from now. Why 100 years? Even 50 years from now, it will not be. This will not be ours, isn't it? Some same detachment should be there in the person. We can consider persons as ours only for offering them seva. Don't get attached too much. Offer him seva that you have to perform. For performing our kartavya karma for them, of course they are important. It is wrong to regard them as ours. If we regard them as not ours, then we become free from the notion of mindness. ये मेरा है, मेरा बेटा, मेरी बेटी, मेरा ये मेरा मेरा छोड़ देना चाहिए. निर्मम, शांत. Tranquility of mind is undisturbed by achieving affinity towards the material world. It gets disturbed, no? Tranquility of mind gets disturbed. When we are getting our mind attached to the material world, lot of kamanas enter into our mind. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye. So it disturbs the mental peace of the mind, isn't it? If this affinity is renounced, if you take divorce from this material affinity, the striver will remain tranquil in his mind. Because we have already learned that attractions and aversions disturb the peace of mind. So if these attractions and aversions are ruled out, then you get the peace of mind, that is Shanta. And lastly, Paramatma says, after doing all this, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. A striver who is devoid of sense of mindness and is tranquil in his mind, he becomes eligible, he becomes qualified for attaining Parabrahma. That is, as soon as his affinity towards the unreal is renounced, he becomes worthy of attaining Parabrahma, he becomes worthy of attaining God realization. As I said, this is Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He has become qualified, he has become eligible, he has not become so far. That state is still little away. Like that Masjid Bandar station has come, but VT is still further. When that stage comes, that we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you so much for listening. Jai Shri Krishna to all. Now the forum is open for you to ask your questions.
I extend my heartfelt gratitude to respected Vikas ji Vaidya Bhayaji for explaining the shlokas so elaborately with such simple language and live examples that they can be digested by all of us immediately. Thank you so much, Bhayaji. Let us begin question and answer session. Please raise your hand for the same session. Thank you. Thank you. Please raise your hands. There is no hand raise.
Okay. Good. People have understood every concept. That's great to know.
Yes.
But I again repeat what I say normally, that if you have any questions, you can raise it in the next session. It's not necessary that you should raise only this session.
Okay. Okay.
We discuss in the next session.
We
Aparna Didi.
explain in such a simple way, so there
Aparna
is no
Didi.
hand raise, Bhayaji.
Aparna Didi.
Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. It was the Vivechan was so insightful, and actually, I was never comfortable to listen Vivechan in English, but I mean, for so many levels, I've always been listening in other language, but I just happened to bump on your Vivechan on one of the weekends when I was available, and it was so amazing that I never realized that English also could be a means of language for such a good Vivechan. So thank you for that. My question is, so I have always I mean, I've been working in IT for so long, and I'm currently on a break. So now that I mean, with my job, I never had time to do anything else. And with my break, I'm able to give seva, and also I'm in L4. So my question is, I mean, I'm in a confused state where I don't know if I should get back to my IT job, or I should do seva, because I can only do one at a time. So, I mean, is it my should it be my responsibility to do the job or give seva?
See, ultimately it will be your decision, but I would say that while doing job, at the back of mind, if you have these thoughts of Gita, it seems you are interested in learning Gita. So if these thoughts are there at the back of your mind, your professional life will not create any obstacle in your spiritual development. Normally what happens, people get so much engaged in their material or professional life that they start ignoring the spiritual part of the life. In your case, you are a different person. You have attraction towards the spirituality, and you have come to the extent that should I leave the job and do it permanently? It's a great change in you. But this will not be the right time for you. You are quite young to devote totally for spirituality. You can perform your duties, prescribed duties for your family, your dependents, and simultaneously some part of the day devoted to the spirituality. Reading Gita every day is a good example, is a good way of getting connected with Lord Krishna. So when you really think that, okay, now I should leave my job and get into it permanently, you will have no problem at all because you are already on that path. Your journey in spirituality will be very smooth if you start in a small way now. Okay. But
Okay.
if you want to offer seva, then as a technical person, there are so many sevas you can offer. You want to Gita Pariwar. We have so many strong technical teams. All this happening in Gita Pariwar, where we have taught Gita to over 30 lakh people all over the world, 180 live,
Yeah.
180 countries and all that. You may be knowing that statistics. So it doesn't happen without technical support. So there is a possibility that you can offer technical support. If you want to offer technical support, that is also a spiritual seva, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm already doing TA
Very
for the levels, but it is so. I just feel that once I get back to my job, I will not be able to do this because of other commitment. So I'm so confused there whether I should,
Then you can read Gita one or two adhyayas every day and continue your professional life for whatever period you want to continue. But
Okay.
don't feel disconnected from Gita. Even if you are in the
Okay.
job, remain permanently connected with Gita. Then, as I said, you will have no problem when you change the track from professional to spiritual.
Okay. Because I also feel that I don't know how much time we have, right? So that is also another thing.
That, see, that's so. But whatever good we do in this life, whatever life period we may have, whatever good we are doing in this life, it helps us not only in this life but in the next life as well. So the next life journey starts from where we have left in this life. So never think
Okay.
that I have less time or I have more time and I can do it later or what should I do it now. Every moment is good for starting anything which is good. So
Okay. Okay. Wait. I have another question. I don't know if there are any other hands raised, but I have another question if I can take a moment. I'm also learning Sanskrit, and the way it is. These shlokas are, I'm able to understand it in Sanskrit. I mean, not that I know a lot, but I wanted to ask if there is any such book which gives us the grammar part also for the entire Bhagavad Gita. So in terms of, Sandhi and all those things.
There
Or
are books
pratyas.
published by Geeta Press. I often don't remember the names of the books, but there are books which explain the Sandhi, the rules for making Sandhi, how the draw comes into picture after connecting two words when the draw is not there in any of the words. So all these rules are explained. But my suggestion to you will be, if you get involved in studying Sanskrit as a language, then Sanskrit is a vast language. You may miss the target and you will start running after Sanskrit and Gita may take a back seat. So our first focus should be to learn Sanskrit Gita. And there are ample number of books available which explain the meaning of shlokas, which do the vivachan of each shloka, giving practical examples. That study will be more helpful. Once you know the meaning of all the shlokas, see, Sanskrit in Gita is very easy. Once you know the meaning of few shlokas, you can yourself understand what the shloka is saying. If you read Gita every day, then knowing the meaning is not a great deal. You can know the meaning, word to word meaning. What is between the line, that is important. What is the meaning of the line? And for that, you need to know contemplation, manan chintan. That is the only way to understand the real Gita.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Vaidya. Thank you very much.
Jai Shri
Sunita
Krishna,
Didi.
Bhaiya.
So I too have two questions.
Yes,
The
please.
first one I have already mentioned there. Is there any difference between Swadharma and Kartavya Dharma? Or are they same?
Okay, they are not same, honestly. See, Swadharma. In this case, dharma is the inherent quality that you have in you.
Yes.
Example, dharma of sun is to give light and heat. That is the dharma of sun. We cannot imagine sun without light or without heat. So what is inherent in you is your dharma. And what you are performing towards others or for your spiritual development as your kartavya karma is different than your swadharma. Dharma is different and kartavya karma is different. Dharma is your inherent quality which you possess, which defines what you are. So keep in mind the example of sun. Sun's dharma is giving light and heat. So likewise, what is our dharma? What thing we are good at? That is our dharma. What defines me is my dharma. But at the same time, when we say swadharma, swa, as we know, is a fragment of Paramatma.
Okay.
And the swadharma means that dharma of swa is to reunite that swa, which is a fragment of Paramatma, with Paramatma, of which it is a fragment. So reuniting these two is swadharma.
Okay.
Connecting our swa with super soul, our soul with super soul is swadharma.
And what about Kartavya Karma?
Kartavya karma is for the body. Swadharma is for the soul.
Okay. That's the main difference.
Yeah, major difference.
Yeah. Now the second question, actually, it's a request for you, Bhaiya. I just
Yeah.
want anytime, whenever it permits you, to brief about each chapter. Now, since we have come to the last chapter of Gita, so whenever it is possible, the connectivity between, or with all these chapters from 1 to 18, whenever
See, at
it
the
is
end of
possible
this
for you.
chapter, we will try to discuss the takeouts from entire Gita. Gita is of 700 slokas. But what are the important takeouts for us from Gita? That we'll discuss in the last session of this
Okay.
Gita.
Okay, will do. Yeah.
We'll cover second adhyaya, third adhyaya, fourth adhyaya, important slokas from those.
Yeah.
We know what are our takeouts.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very important. Then only we can
So,
put them into practice in our practical life.
yes, please do
And
attend the last
of
session.
course,
where we
here
will cover-
we have learned, these chapters in a different order. 12
Yes,
and 15 to begin with, and 18 comes at the end, and other
Right.
chapters in between we have studied. So I
Right.
just want to know the continuity, or what you said, the takeaway from each chapter. That's
Right.
very important.
Yeah, so we'll discuss it in the last session of
Okay,
Gita.
sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Any other questions, please? If no more questions, we can
No
conclude the
question,
session.
no more questions.
We
Shall
can
we
conclude.
conclude?
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you, Bhaiyaji. Thank you so much, Bhaiyaji, for doubt clearing session. Let us offer this session to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with prayer by Nageshwar Masana Bhaiyaji from Hyderabad. Is retired engineer, joined Geeta Pariwar in January 24, giving seva as core trainer for L1. Welcome Bhaiyaji, Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Yogesham Sachidanandam Vasudevam Vrajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
Thank you Bhaiyaji for beautiful prayer. On behalf of Geeta Pariwar, thank you Tech Star Sunil Pitale Bhaiya. Thank you technical team, Vivechak team for the relentless efforts, and also sincere thank to you all devotees of Lord Krishna. Please stay in the session for chanting of Hanuman Chalisa. Jai Shri Krishna.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र औ ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटै मिटै सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।